Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If you've been here before or you haven't been here before, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That actually lets me know that you want more of this content. And I'm really going to do something a little bit different today. I have this Substack that I've been writing, and it's called the Malik Paradox. And on the Substack, I do things completely different than what I do on the channel.
You know, the one with all the random stuff, tech breakdowns, martial arts demos, deep dives into weird science.
There's computer science, that kind of thing. And, occasionally I get into the culinary arts, disasters. But I like to call it food experiments. And that's a better way to say it.
And but lately something's been bugging me. I've been feeling this pull, this itch to dig into something a little different, something that gets to the core of, well, everything. And that, my friends, is philosophy and psychology. So I've decided to try something new. I'm calling it my philosophical exploration series. Basically, I'm going to be diving into the minds of some of history's most influential thinkers.
Now, we're not going to get all stuffy and academic. I promise you. We're going to be just, chilling, like we're at a coffee shop, just, hanging out. No pressure. Just one thing, just curiosity.
And what better place to start than with the OG, the one and only Aristotle? Okay, so Aristotle, when you think of him, what comes to mind? Maybe that portrait with the serious beard, or maybe nothing at all. And that's cool too. Either way, this guy was a BEAST. Like, seriously. This dude was doing it all back in ancient Greece. He was a student of Plato, who we'll probably tackle at some point, and a teacher of Alexander the Great.
I mean, talk about a diverse resume. One minute you are tutoring the future conqueror of the world, and the next minute you're basically classifying every species of animal that you can get your hands onto. That's something he actually did it was around 350 BC. That's what sort of blew my mind the most, to be honest. Aristotle basically created biology. He was dissecting animals, and I'm talking about dissecting animals without the fancy equipment, without tech, without anything. And not so good for the animals, though. But he wrote about everything he observed, not just animals. He wrote about the planets and the movement of stars, and you basically name it. The guy was constantly taking things apart and putting them back together to see how they work again. It was almost like he was the first hacker. He was just trying to figure things out. And honestly, that's what got me hooked.
Okay, here's another thing that's wild. He practically invented formal logic. Think about that. Like, we take for granted that A equals A, and if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, right? Well, around 335 BC, Aristotle was the guy who basically laid down the foundational principles for how we reason today. That's kind of insane when you really think about it. And it's not just dry stuff either. Aristotle was also about ethics and politics. He was obsessed with figuring out how to live a good life. He believed that happiness, or eudaimonia in Greek, wasn't some fleeting emotion. For him, it was about achieving your full potential. That's why he emphasized virtues and how to develop them: honesty, courage, generosity, like stuff like that. I think that's something we can definitely learn from today. He basically gave us a roadmap on how to build your character. Another interesting side note: Aristotle was really into observation. He was a pioneer of empirical thinking, which is fancy speak for let's actually look at things instead of just thinking about them. That's why I like him so much, because that's basically how my whole YouTube thing works. He wasn't just
Chilling in his head, just hanging out. He was out there exploring, he was experimenting. And honestly, it's how he came up with many of his conclusions. He seriously was an advocate for getting out there, getting your hands dirty. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Aristotle was perfect. I mean, he definitely had some outdated views, especially when it came to things like slavery.
but his impact on how we think about pretty much everything is undeniable. He laid the groundwork for so many fields of study, from science to philosophy to political science.
I mean, he established his Lyceum around 335 BC. That's basically the philosophical equivalent of a startup, right? I mean, that's pretty cool. You got to admit.
Cool, right? All right, that's it for this quick dive into the world of Aristotle. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did. I know I barely scratched the surface, but hey, it's a start. All right, let me know what you thought and hit me up with suggestions for which brainiac we should explore next. And till next time, stay curious, people.